What's up, guys? The red light is on. I'm Dave Van Auken, Dave Van Auken Show with about to be, we're rolling Bellator Friday night, 4-0 undefeated featherweight Cody Law. How you doing, my man?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing great, brother. Doing great, man.
Good.
Appreciate your time having you back on the show. We've been doing this a couple times. We've been after this
Yep.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, so the first thing, and there's so much. The past weekend was incredible to us for combat sports fans, and we'll get into so much. So much I want to get into, but for you, let's kind of jump on it right away. Fighting Friday, being 4-0. We're kind of coming out of this whole global pandemic thing, and I looked into it. I'm like, man, you have a shot to be 5-0,
Yep.
13 months. Nice little journey, man. Bellator
Yeah.
250, about to be Bellator 271. You got to be really, I would assume, really, really happy on how fastly this is going, man. To be 5-0 in 13 months for a major fight organization, this is nice.
Yeah.
It's working out well.
Yeah, man. I'm super happy. That was the big thing that I wanted, was just to be super active. I wanted to. I think I wanted to try to get 6 fights in that span of time. I didn't quite get there, but 5 fights in just under 13 months is still pretty good. I'm happy. I'll be
Yeah.
5-0. I'll be 5-0. Only 1 year into my career here in less than a week.
Yeah, and you know how it is, man. A lot of times, and I remember you were kind of last time we talked about it is you were talking about you wouldn't mind getting 2, 3 fights and kind of one fight camp, if that makes sense. Get back
Yeah.
into it, train again, get back into it. But
Yeah.
to get 5 and 13, there's not a lot of high level fighters. I remember Kevin Holland did that year, and it was like the biggest thing. He had that 5 fights in that 1 year, and everyone thought he was like, this madman. And like you're kind of doing it underneath the radar. And
Yeah.
that's nice. That's a nice, because after 5, you can see, with Austin, what they're doing with Bellator and what Johnny's doing in Bellator, like they're all of a sudden they're top 5 guys, championship fights on the horizon. So I feel like it's going to really quick, a big fight in front of you in early 2022.
I think so. I think after this one, things are going to start speeding up and heating up. I think after this, we'll have a step up in competition, and maybe things will slow down but speed up, if that makes sense. Maybe I won't fight
Yeah.
5 times in 2022, but the progression will speed up, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%. It's sometimes quality over quantity, for big organizations, even like a Chimaev who's 4-0 in the UFC, and even Dana White threw water on. It's like, guys, even 4-0, like he hasn't fought major top level competition a couple in a row. I can't give him a title shot over guys like Burns and Wonder Boy and stuff. And guys have been in, that division, in that deep water for a minute. So like, I feel like Bellator got you 5. And, you did all the work, of course, but they gave you 5 opponents. You did the hard work. Now it's like a big matchup, spring of 22, maybe a really, really big one of the summer. And who knows at the end, like 7-0, 8-0 featherweight could be right there.
Yeah, you never know. I think in 22 around 8-0, and then 8 or 9-0, and then we'll see what happens. Maybe the beginning of 23. I got a plan in my head, but I'm just gonna get through this fight for now, and then
right, one at a time. Have you looked into Colton? Have you kind of looked into his game or anything like that?
Yeah, I know. I've watched him. There's a ton of footage on him, so I have a good idea of the tendencies and what he likes to do, where his openings are. I mean, it's no secret. I think all of his wins are via submission. Likes to be on his back, it seems like. And there's a bunch of other things that I've noticed that I plan to use, in the fight. I think it's gonna be really good for me.
You don't want to give out your game plan exactly T to a T right here on the show?
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to, because I love the analytical side of fighting, but
I love it, man.
It's probably best to keep it to myself for now.
Absolutely, it's funny, man. And like, I kind of will transition into that. Is so 3 big things happened over the weekend. 3 kind of shows I want to hit up on. One was at Island Fight 70 over on Friday, and 2 kind of American top team, 2 kind of very young up and comer guys, Bo Nickel and Musa. They call him Moose, right?
Yeah.
So they had 2 wins, and like I said, we talked before. And I was commentating on the show, so it's a lot different. When you're commentating, like you're so locked into every little detail, how things are going, how they're moving. And like you said, analytical, it's a different way to watch fights. It's not just chilling, you're not hanging with your boys, and, you kind of barely missed a knockout, you rewind and whatever like that.
Yeah.
It's very odd. And I was so impressed, man. So impressed with footwork and angles they're taking. And when they knew they saw an ending, they went for it. They sped 85 miles an hour to get that ending. So
Yeah.
it's a great way to look at it. Do you really like looking at fights analytical like that?
Yeah, dude. It's not as fun. Like it's not
Sure.
like if you want to just put fights on, like it's the same way with TV shows. If I'm trying to relax, I put on a show that I've already seen because you can
Yeah.
just kind of have it on autopilot. But if you got to pay attention, you got to pay attention. So with fights, when I'm trying to learn stuff, I don't get to enjoy the fight. I have to like really really watch it, and it's hard to watch both guys, right? So sometimes you watch a fight, you only watch one guy,
Good
and
call.
you go back and watch it again and watch the other guy. Because it's so hard to pay attention to what they're both doing at the same time. And then maybe screen record it on your phone, and then you can slow mo it. You know what I mean, through your
Yeah.
camera roll and watch the sequences happen. And how's this guy move after he lands the kick? Is he chin back? Just little things like that. It's definitely work, but I like it.
Man, that's a good call. I never really thought about that. You almost have to watch the fight twice because you have to watch both men
Yeah,
or girls in that time. But
yeah.
to really, really kind of get the whole fight. You just mentioned shows. What's your kind of you just want to veg. Bellator puts you in an amazing, nice hotel, and you just want to watch a good show and relax. Well, what's your kind of go-to show?
Right now, it's been The Office.
Okay, yeah,
Because
yeah,
you don't have to. It takes zero effort to watch The Office.
yes.
Just put it on. You can look at your phone. You can do anything you want. The Office is playing in the background. It's nice.
Beautiful. And what's your kind of analytical? Maybe it's an hour-long show. I would assume it's like on an HBO or a Showtime, something of that. What's like your go-to hour-long legit show?
Maybe Game of Thrones, because you
Yeah.
can rewatch that show again and again and still learn new stuff. Peaky Blinders. That's another one I'll rewatch, but I pay attention to. House of Cards. These are shows where you got to pay attention.
House of Cards, man. I love those first couple of seasons. Were so good.
I know. Listen, man. This is controversial, but like Kevin Spacey did that whatever bullshit he did, right? I forget exactly what he did. But man, for all the people in the world, let him finish the final season and then screw him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you didn't really hurt him. You hurt us.
Right.
You gave us all these good seasons, and then the final season, I didn't even watch it. I watched one episode and was like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't watch this.
Yeah, he was the show. His character was the show.
This is what you
It
watch.
was so damn good too. And like I say it all the time, Cody. Like, man, if we start picking at everything, right? Like if we start I love eating Snickers. I'm a Snickers guy. I'm traveling all the time. You eat a Snickers, it kind of takes care of a whole meal. I don't know what the owner of Snickers is doing on his downtime. Like it's for people to kind of like try to denigrate everyone and pick everyone. That's a bad way to live, my man. Bad way.
Yeah, that's the culture we're in nowadays. Like this culture of like be very afraid all the time of everything you say and do, and people can ruin your life just based off of what they say, not even with any proof. It's just crazy. I'm not saying that he didn't do what he did because he probably did. Seems like he might be a weirdo in real life.
Right, right.
I mean, who knows? But he's an amazing actor in that show, and I really wish they would have let him finish the season.
I know. You're so right. Like they hurt him, but they also hurt all of us, the masses. Yeah, what a great show. It's an underrated show no one really talks about. Like those 3-4 years, the peak of that show, not another show better on TV. Not one.
Dude, it's so good, and it's another show you can rewatch it because there's no way you watch that in one time through and you catch everything.
Right.
You rewatch and you're like, oh shit, you start to realize things because it's hard to remember all the names and the different schemes that are happening. I love it.
That's a good one. Talking about catching everything. I know you're a diehard boxing guy. I love it. So funny. You and I talked about crossing over to boxing before. It was cool to cross over into boxing, and now all these older MMA guys are doing it. But let's talk about one of the most legit boxing fights of the year, Canelo and Plant. It was funny, man. I was like, Cody is definitely a big fan of this one, I would assume. What did you think going into the fight? Watching the fight, did anything change for you? And what's your thoughts afterwards now?
Yeah, I thought it was a good fight, man. Caleb Plant was giving him it was making it difficult. Like he wasn't presenting a clean target, right?
Right.
He was not committing to too many shots, like just pumping fast jabs out there. That Philly shell shoulder roll, he's not dipping to either side too much, so Canelo's uppercuts weren't there. It definitely kind of shows you why Canelo would have difficulty with a guy like Floyd, right? Because Floyd obviously does the shoulder roll better than Plant would, but Plant is taller and longer. But again, Canelo just seems to have this way of in the later rounds, he finds the shot, and he puts the guy away, even whenever it's looking like, I knew that if it went to a decision, Canelo would win no matter what. But it was cool to see him finally find that opening and get the finish.
Right. I feel like me more of an MMA fan than a boxing fan, which I do love boxing as well. But as an MMA fan, there's just something I like more when I see a boxing finish, especially in the later rounds. Because,
Yeah.
like you said, probably Canelo didn't have to finish him towards the end of that fight to win that fight, right? He didn't have to finish him. But there's something that I love, admire, respect that Canelo's like, no, I'm putting this guy out. Like, I want to, I think it's a cleaner win, it's a better win. The highlights look better.
Yeah.
I saw his Instagram page, like he posted it right away. He's like, I'm posting the finish.
Yeah.
So I respect that about Canelo, man. And right now, I don't see anyone beating him. I don't see anyone beating him right now. In the next 18 months, I don't think he loses.
Yeah, it's tough. I think we want to see him fight Benavidez, right? I want to see him fight Benavidez, and then they're talking about him fighting at 75, and who knows? There's some guys at 75, and it just keeps getting the heavier you get, the harder it's going to be.
Of course, yeah.
That's out Kovalev, so who knows? I mean, not that was prime Kovalev, but still, you never know.
Yeah, you are right. And when he goes up weight, it's going to get tougher and tougher for sure.
Yeah.
Talking about tougher for sure. I know Bellator guy, true and true. They're paying the bill, so much respect to them. UFC 268, Cody, was one of the greatest shows I've ever seen, beginning to end. It was so weird. I really felt like after the Gaethje Chandler madness, it was hard to kind of get into the fights, which was crazy because Burgos and Billy Q put on a good fight. Cheeto with a really crazy knockout. Rose does what Rose does, and then Usman, can't argue in a weird way, pound for pound fighter in the world maybe right now.
Yeah.
Just an amazing show. I would love your kind of thoughts maybe on the whole show together, or of course, if there's something popped out at you, especially that Gaethje Chandler. I'm ready, man. We can go back and forth with that.
Dude, I think the Gaethje Chandler fight, it was so exciting, right? But I was frustrated watching it because I felt like Chandler could have won that fight had he not decided beforehand to go in there and brawl. Okay. Right? Because in the beginning, it looked like I was looking at it thinking like, wow, Chandler looks like he can fight from a longer distance, like he's closing distance better. He wasn't getting kicked with the calf kicks. He was sliding out of the way early. He was looking like he could have been the better fighter had he stuck to maybe a game plan, stayed on the outside, picked his shots a little bit. But it seemed like once things got going, it was like we're brawling. And then it's like damage. You're taking so much damage. I mean, his calf was destroyed.
I'm so happy you said that. Let me interrupt real quick. I think that's what the fight, Chandler was moving well and was getting out of the way some of the calf kicks. And like you said, I think was winning, maybe even won the first round. Like he was doing some good movement. I think, two judges had it 29-28. And I definitely 2 was Gaethje. I think 3 was definitely Gaethje as well. So I think 2 judges had Chandler winning. It was those calf kicks, the Dustin Poirier calf kicks, if you want to say now, 2 or 3 or 4 of them start to get to him. And then by round 2, he became a statue. He became like he couldn't get out of the way. And then I even feel like Chandler's like, I can't dodge this no more. I can't move. We're brawling. Like you said, we're brawling. And in a weird way, no one can brawl like Gaethje. Like that's what Gaethje wants. Like in a weird way, he just wants to fight in the phone booth and just go for as long as he can go. Like that's his game plan. I
feel like Gaethje was the more patient, tactical fighter in that fight, and that's not that's not a good sign if you're the other guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Chandler really could have done well, but in the beginning, I have to rewatch it. But in the beginning of the fight, he looked really good, and then they got into a few exchanges, and you could tell like he was like putting everything into his shots, and he was just there to go out with a bang, maybe, or he could have stopped trying to kill him with every shot and been more tactical, and maybe would have taken so much damage, maybe would have won that fight. I mean, it's great to be exciting, but that was the title eliminator, I think. It's his calf. I mean, if you can see it on TV, it's bad. Because his leg looked like the bowling ball pin, Yep. Like this huge knot. That's bad if you can see it on TV. I'm sure he was hurting afterwards.
Yeah, it's bad. Already today in MMA, seems like Monday's such a big day now with news coming out and stuff of that nature. They're already, Chandler went after, in a weird way, in a nice way, after Conor congratulated Chandler in a good fight. Chandler went back at him, so they're already going back and forth. So I think the UFC is like, wow, thank you. After Chandler's performance, MSG, like he's off of a loss, he's got a ton of great buzz, a ton of war. And now, Gaethje's going to go for the title. against
Yeah.
ATT's own Dustin Poirier when he wins in December.
Yep.
Book that rematch. And then I think probably spring or summer of 2022, they can set up Chandler and Connor in a big main event.
Yeah, that could happen, man. It could. I mean, Chandler still comes out of this okay, but you gotta like weigh each scenario. You know what I mean? Because he comes out of it in a good way, where he's still got a high value. He could fight Conor McGregor and maybe make even more money than he would have for the title shot.
Right.
But that damage is forever. You know, it's a tough trade off.
Yeah, hit me on that, man. You're in it. You're the fighter. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, I've
Madison
not
Square
taken damage
Garden.
like that. I don't
Say
know.
that again?
I've never taken damage like that, so I have no idea what that does to you. But I haven't heard good things. You know, I know what the little bit of damage I've taken in training is like. You know, that lingers with you. So I can't imagine the full fight like that.
Yeah, like, is it at all? Would you even say like, yeah, Dave, I would go through one of those for, a Bellator championship, or, even through like the memory. It seemed like, in a weird way, I'm just gonna, and tell me if I'm wrong, Gaethje and Chandler goes, hey, we're opening up Madison Square Garden, huge pay-per-view, a lot of eyes on it. Like, they almost felt like, hey, we're gonna give you a 15-minute memory, a moment, whatever you want to say, fight of the year, all that shit kind of side. It seems like they kind of, of course, Gaethje wanted that knockout in the second, and he almost got it. But like you said, like Chandler, after a while, was like, no, I don't care what I go through. I'm giving you this moment. Would you ever kind of substitute that? You're like, nah, I want to win, quit, in and out. I want my body to be good.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the latter. I mean, if it turns out that way, like if it's a dirty fight, and you're asking me, would I take a back seat and just concede the fight to not take damage? Of course not. If I had to get in there and get into a war to win, I would do it. But if there's another way to win, if there's an easier path to victory, if you can stay on the outside and be a technical fighter and not take damage, take that 10 times out of 10, right? I mean,
right. I would think so.
Your health and your career, and maybe your next performance is on the line, because you go in there and you take that damage, and then maybe the next performance you're not as durable or as resilient, where you could have avoided some damage fighting a more tactical fight. Maybe, we'll see.
Right. I agree with you. Probably the most popular fighter in the world. Still, he's been retired now for 18 months. Khabib Nurmagomedov. There's not one fight that comes to me when I think of war. Like, it never happened.
Exactly. And I was talking with one of my coaches this morning on the phone about it, and we were talking about GSP. What war do you remember GSP being in? He had moments of like
the Johnny Hendricks a little.
That's the closest one, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a bloodbath where you're like, oh my God. GSP marks up very easily too, so it looked like a war. But if you watch it, it wasn't like this horrible car wreck that Gaethje and Chandler
Right. Who won that fight, by the way?
What, GSP Hendricks?
Yeah.
GSP, I think. I think that I mean, I've rewatched it and changed my mind back and forth, but I think that you can't. I think a lot of people are like, the rounds that Hendricks won, he won convincingly. The rounds that GSP won were very, very close. But so everybody's just like, come on, look how bad Hendricks won those rounds. Like, he definitely won. But it's like, okay, Hendricks might have won rounds, off the top of my head, I don't know, 2 and 4, really, really clearly. But rounds 1, 3, and 5, GSP might have squeaked them by. And GSP was the champion. He marks up very easily. In the 5th round, I think this is my viewpoint. In the 5th round, it could have, and it was, I think, 2-2. Hendricks was singing, walking back and forth singing, and he didn't go out and get it in the 5th round. He kind of looked like he thought he won. His whole corner thought they won for sure.
Right, just don't get knocked out.
Yeah, he didn't go win that belt in the 5th round. And GSP won that round to win the fight. And I was kind of like, man, I don't really feel bad for him,
Yeah. No, and this is great. And like, it kind of brings me to another thing. And I got 3 other things for you, but this is just fun and just organic.
Yeah.
Would you, like, I'm a big football guy too, so they don't do quarter by quarter, like a round by round score. At the end of the game, the Saints beat the Falcons 31-20, whatever it is, whatever the score is. Would you be more intrigued of, like, in a fight? Are you cool? No, I want a round by one score and I want to know. Or would you rather be like, in a way, I want Hendricks versus GSP, 25 minutes. Okay, maybe Hendricks. But I do get what you're saying. I remember that fight. Like, there was close of 2 10-8 rounds for Johnny. Those 2 rounds, he was dominant, looked awesome. But I do remember exactly what you're saying. Like, the rounds were super close, and like you probably do lean GSP. He is more technical. He is the champ.
Yeah.
He is, like you said, just a cleaner fighter.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you just graded it, an alien came in and watched that fight for 25 minutes, they would have pointed Hendricks.
Yeah.
But not the scoring type it
Yeah.
is. What do you think of this, the scoring session? Would you ever want to change it?
I don't know. I've thought about this stuff. I know what you mean. If that was a 25-minute fight, no rounds, Hendricks probably wins that fight, right?
Right.
But based on the scoring system, I think George St. Pierre wins that fight.
Agree.
I think that what would have been helpful maybe, and still maybe would be helpful, is if there was open scoring. I know there's been people talking about that. If you knew the score after each round, that would have changed the fight. Maybe Hendricks wins for sure then. Maybe Hendricks goes out and gets it in the 5th round instead of acting like he already won the fight. But I don't know. Maybe that's not the answer, but open scoring seems like it could be a good idea.
Brother, like I say this all the time. 15 years ago, people used to be able to smoke on airplanes. Like it's crazy if you think that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna look back 10 years from now and be like, wait a second, the biggest fight of the year, even if you want to just say Usman, Covington, even into the 5th round, we didn't know what the score was. And you would think like a layman guy would come in, like not an MMA guy or a boxing guy would be like, wait a second, your biggest fight of the year in Madison Square Garden, you didn't know the score of the biggest fight? Like, I know it sounds crazy. I just think that way, like layman terms. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Like,
no, I think you're right, dude. Imagine if the Super Bowl was played and they didn't display the score,
right?
And the touchdowns were subjective, like it wasn't 7 points every time, so you couldn't even keep track in your head, you know. And then at the end of the game, you're just like, we'll see. Maybe we won. Maybe we didn't. We're not going to drive downfield on this one. We're gonna kick a field goal instead of a touchdown because we don't know if we're winning or not. You know, like, can you imagine? It's kind of weird.
100%. And the first argument when I talk at a bar or at an MMA event like Island Fights, and I bring this up because I'm so pro open scoring. The first thing I hear, they always go, "Well, Dave, if Usman's up 4 rounds to 0 on Colby, the 5th round, he's going to run. Like, he won't fight Usman. He won't engage." I'm like, dude, I disagree with that, man. Like, you're inside a cage with Covington, like him or dislike him, a really high-end mixed martial artist. Like, you can't change your game up. One, that might mess up your way. Yeah. And two, I would feel deep down inside, most fighters or all fighters or top-level mixed martial artists, you want to get the win. You want to get a stoppage. It's like this, not like a dominant feeling over someone, but to know, like, no, I stopped that man. There was no way. I didn't give it to the judges. There's been some horrific judging. I want to stop a fight every time I'm in it, you know? Like,
I mean, of course, there's always going to be the exception. Like, there's always going to be somebody who has that mindset where they're going to run the last round. But the real guys, like, if you're in a street fight, my coach in college, my wrestling coach, Coach Pecora, he's like gangster, man. He would always tell us, if you're in a street fight, because he grew up in street fights, you know, back in the day, he said, if you're in a street fight and whenever people come, like the cops come, whoever's on top is who's winning that fight, right? When everybody comes to break it up, if you're the one who, even if you got beat up, you end up on top when everybody comes, you won that fight. Right? You're winning the fight. So who wants to win 4 rounds and then the last round get beat up or run and lose the last round? Like, it's like a kind of like a, an unspoken thing.
Bad taste.
Yeah, you don't want to win like that. You don't want to be whooping someone's ass and then the last round you're underneath him getting beat up because you're coasting, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think, at least.
We could go on this for hours. It's like such a I'm telling you, like 10 years from now, you know, Dana White's going to be like, hey, guys, we're going to have open scoring on UFC. We're going to have a big scoreboard, you know, in these huge arenas we're at. And, you know, it's going to be advertising on it with DraftKings on it. They're going to make $10 million on the scoreboard, you know. And we're going to look back like, wait, they didn't have one. It's going to be one of those things I can call. One last kind of fun thing I do want to talk to you about. I just talked to you 13 months ago, and I remember I felt like it was you and Dalton at that time kind of got there real close to time. And there's some other guys, you know, from other gyms that were there. And now, you know, Austin is about to fight for the Bellator champion. He's a young up-and-comer. Oh, I lost you.
Sorry. King Mo just called me. I had to decline him.
No, King Mo's going to beat me up for this, man. I know, King.
It's on you. It's on you, not me.
That's funny. I'm cutting that up for sure.
Hey, while we had an interruption, can I pause real quick?
Yeah.
I'm water loading. I got to pee so bad.
Go for it, brother. Go for it. I'll take it over.
Better if I can pee.
I'll take you off the camera. All right. My guy is Waterload. It's fight week for Cody Law, guys. He's around 2 days away. Bellator 271, 5-0 featherweight going for. Telling you, like we kind of brought him up at the beginning of the show. 13-month journey. Bellator 250 to 271, trying to become 5-0. And where I'm getting at, and I will talk to Cody about it here in a second. America top teams run right now of this youth, this next generation. I'm going to call it the reload of American top team is pretty spectacular. Guys like Johnny, Dalton, Rasta, Austin Vanderford, Bo Nickel, Musa, and I'll talk to him about it. It's pretty spectacular. You guys see it in the top right. There you go. Right. Top left, top right. That's one of Cody Law's sponsors, Axe and Sledge Supplements. Make sure you go get them. I know he's doing a lot of things with there. I think they're doing a nice giveaway. Axe and Sledge Supplements. Look at that, man. I'm even during your break. I'm even pushing your sponsors right there.
I see that, man. That's pretty cool. I don't know. This is all reversed, but there.
Yeah, there you go. Up there. Yeah.
Cool.
I see you're doing a giveaway for them and all that. So I'll let you kind of talk about that at the end. They're really important. But okay, where I was getting at, 2019 American Top Team had one of the best years ever. It was the Masvidal year. Dustin won the title. Amanda won the title or titles. Kayla Harrison, so many more. It was insane. And then even like guys that didn't go to that gym, like guys like Rosenstrike and Thiago Santos went there for big fight camps. It was just a banner year for ATT. And then I was like, they need a reload. Dalton, yourself, Austin, we're looking like Bo Nickel, Musa. Do you guys feel that in the gym? Do you guys, Sebi, who's fighting on the Bellator show, he's down there, really stud athlete, Egyptian wrestler. Do you guys feel that as a collective unit? Like, wow, we are that next generation. We're the Dustin and Jorge and when Woodley was there and Covington and all that stuff. Do you guys feel that?
I don't know. We've not ever talked about it really.
Oh, okay, like it just doesn't come up, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe we should have that conversation after this fight, but we haven't talked about it. I mean, for me, I just feel like I still feel like every day at the gym, like I'm just happy. I'm just so happy I get to be there. You know.
Yeah.
I get to be around everyone that I'm around and train with these guys, and it's still a process of me feeling like, yes, I'm just like these guys. You know what I mean? Because I'm still just like very happy to be with them. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's a great point. And I'm happy you kind of said that and we're really honest about it. Like, when do you that feeling of that transition of like, I know you will always be happy to train maybe at the greatest gym in the world with the best fighters in the world. And I love that gym. You know how much I love that gym. But when are you going to think you're going to feel like, I'm not happy to be here. Like I belong here. Like I'm now a veteran of the gym or a leader role of the gym. You're the Derek Jeter of American Top Team. When do you think you're going to kind of that transition? Do you think you just need more years and time and just kind of feel of it?
I don't know, man. Maybe never. I think like there's a part of me right now that feels like I belong there, you know?
Yeah.
Because of my performances and you know, how I'm doing in the gym. And, you can be honest with yourself. But there's another part of me that I think just based on like my whole life, if you have a narrative or whatever your whole life of a certain thing, that kind of sticks with you. And my whole life, I've always kind of been like maybe the guy, like when I started wrestling, I was an unathletic, uncoordinated, not successful wrestler. And I carried with me, I was always not quite good enough, you know? And so maybe I'll always a little bit feel like I'm still fighting to belong here, you know, rather than that entitled feeling of I belong here and I'm good enough, you know. I think I'll always feel like I have to fight to be here. Even whenever I'm the best guy in the world, I'll probably still
right.
When I'm multiple time champion, I'll still feel like I have stuff to prove, you know, maybe just myself.
It's one of probably the best qualities you can have as a human or as a competitor. It's the Tom Brady-ness. I think I have this, to be honest with you, Cody. Like some guys don't have to be this. I'm thinking of ideas at 2:30 in the morning. I'm jotting ideas. I'm taking my kids to school and I'm like, oh, wait a second. Rose Namajunas is this, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking of ideas. Like the grinders are like that. Like the real ones. I think Poirier still has it to this day. I still feel like he thinks he's, just a fighter, like an outsider, like he's the underdog. And he's getting Oliveira is the champ on a 9-fight win streak, and Poirier is the favorite, the bet-in favorite. It's amazing to me if you really kind of say that out loud.
Yeah, but I guarantee he doesn't think like that. You know what I mean? I guarantee
Right.
he's not thinking like, ah, I'm supposed to win this fight.
Oh yeah.
We still got something to prove. That's the way. Like you listen to Tom Brady, right? I mean, he's the
Yeah.
greatest of all time, and he's still, feels like he's got something to prove because of that. That I think that life that he kind of went through too, where he was never quite good enough. He was that late draft pick, and he was disregarded and overlooked. That stays with you for life.
Yeah.
You don't get rid of that, and it's kind of a blessing. Like
It is.
having adversity and struggles and bad things happen to you, sure they suck, but it's such a blessing because it's like lifelong advantage you have now. You
Yeah.
know?
Man, that one deep. That one deep. That's Cody Law's thoughts right there, right there.
Yeah.
Man, I'll let you go in a couple minutes. I'll let you kind of last minute or two. I know you're killing it with the sponsors. I'll let you run with them. I know you got a couple different giveaways going away and all that stuff. I know the whiskey guy. And also, like I said, man, I'm so jealous of your family and how much they support you and what you
Yeah.
do. It's amazing. Not a lot of people have the courage and the just the guts really to kind of live out your dream and to do what you really want to do in life. There's how many professional high level fighters are there? You know what I mean? There's a
Yeah.
thousand out of millions on this planet Earth. And instead of them kind of, hey, Cody, I don't know if you can do this. Hey, you would be a great teacher. Hey, you can work at UPS and be fine. Seems like
Yeah.
from afar, at least, they are so positive about you and your career and everything. It's really fun to watch, man. I'm such a family guy, and to see that it's pretty dope. It's awesome. So I'll give you the last
Yeah.
2 minutes. Sponsors and family, take it away, brother.
Oh man, I'm super lucky. I think about it all the time. Gratitude's a big thing, right? You're supposed to be grateful for the things you have, and now that you say that, I was just thinking, and there's not a single person in my life that doesn't fully support me and believe that I can do this. Which I think is rare. There's always usually you have someone in your life that's a naysayer or that laughs at you, and I had people like that. I can still remember. I won't name names, and there's a bunch of these examples, but I can still remember just about 2 years ago, maybe a little less than 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I was telling someone that I've known for a while, an adult, they were asking what I'm going to do with my life. I said, I'm going to be a professional fighter, make millions of dollars, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to retire young. And he literally laughed. He was like, okay, what are you really going to do? This is exactly what he said. And I've had that
Right?
encounter so many times where they laugh and they say, okay, what are you really going to do? And I say, well, that's what I'm going to do. And then they go, okay. And then they walk away, and that's the end of it. So, but I have zero people like that in my life now. All the people in my life, all my friends and family, they support me so much. And now I have all these amazing sponsors, and I'll give them all, shout outs and everything. Post fight, I'll do all my stuff and promote them and support them where they're supporting me. A bunch of them are actually coming to this fight. I got my mom coming out to this fight. This will be her first professional fight she's ever seen. She's actually
That's
arriving
awesome.
today. She actually just landed a little bit ago. She's staying with her friend, and she was out here for a little while before that, and then she went home for a second. Now she's back, and so she'll be here. And a bunch of my sponsors are flying out. A few friends. I got a bunch of people coming. I'm pretty lucky, man.
That's awesome, brother. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, you
Are
know
you
me,
gonna
man.
be there though? That's the question. Are you gonna be there?
I'm not. I was gonna end it on that. I was
All
like,
my
man.
people are gonna be there. Huh? That's weird.
You were talking about me 18 months ago. We're not playing. It's so funny. When this came on the date on the calendar, and I don't know. I still might try. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
part of the game. I might try, and I know people that are flying in town too to watch. Kind of the whole Bellator show. It's really stacked, great card too. It's
Yeah.
really deep. Cyborg's on top. One of my good guys, Justin Gonzalez, is on it. Sebe, he's all a part of that Game Bred fighting championship and all that crew. He's fighting on. I've been seeing him out everywhere. So,
Yeah.
man, it's gonna be a good card, man. It's gonna be a great night. Bellator 271, Showtime, the Dexter series, kind of built that up. Now Cody Law's taking it away. So, hey, if you don't have anything else, man, I always appreciate you and your time. We went 35 minutes on Fight Week, man. I appreciate that very much.
Pretty good, man. Of course. Always happy to do it.
Awesome, brother. There's Cody Law, about to be 5-0 featherweight. We'll talk to him real soon.